Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of r/PettyRevenge. In today's episode, someone took my parking spot, so they got blocked on it all afternoon. Neighbor called the cops on me smoking weed, so I outed him to his family. I purposely made the project so that my project partner could get a D in our final project. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. Someone took my parking spot, so they got blocked on it all afternoon. First of all, sorry for the formatting, I'm on my phone. Second, sorry if for my bad English, it's not my native language. Third, sorry for the long post. Here's the context: I work at a hospital as a lab technician. Our hospital site is near the city center and quite old, so there are no real parking lot, and not many parking spaces available. Between students, patients, hospital workers, and people coming and going for different reasons, it's nearly impossible to find a spot after 8 a.m. Since I work in a small team, only 4, and the evening shift is also on call for any emergency, we have one reserved parking spot. There's a sign saying it's only for on-call lab technicians from our department, and there's a chain with a padlock in front of it. It is located between a pillar and another building's wall, right next to our lab. There is another team in the lab, and we sometimes let them use the parking spot when we have others available or when we come using public transportation, but otherwise we don't share it. So the story. A few weeks ago, I started doing the evening shifts. Usually from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m., but it can last much longer. I was also on call, so I took my car to the lab. I arrived one morning near 9:45, went to the reserved parking spot, but the chain was down and the spot was taken. At first I thought it was someone from the other team, but I didn't agree to share the spot with anyone and I didn't recognize the car. So I decided to park just in front of it, horizontally, so that my car wouldn't be on the road. That way, the other car was stuck between the wall, the pillar, and my car. At first I was thinking I would move it as soon as I found the colleague and he agreed to let me my spot. But it turns out the car didn't belong to anyone from the lab. One tech had witnessed by the window a lady parking in the spot around 9:40. When he opened the window to tell her not to park there, she just said, "I'm in a hurry, I won't be long," and left walking fast. I checked if there was a phone number left under the windshield that I could call, but nothing. So we decided, you know what? My car is fine where it is. It's not on the road, it leave enough sidewalk for pedestrians to be safe, and it's only blocking her. I don't have time to go find another parking spot at this hour, which would probably be at the end of the hospital site. Plus I have a sticker on my car saying it can park at some places in the hospital for emergencies. And the day went on. I had almost forgotten about it until 4 p.m. when someone called the secretary. The lab's phone number was on my sticker. It was a lady wondering why there was a car parked in front of her. Turns out she was also a hospital worker, from another department, who had arrived late to work and couldn't find a place to park, so she took the chains down and parked there. No idea how she got rid of the padlock, but it was old and weathered, so it might just have broken. She had just finished, "I won't be long, my ass," and now she wanted to leave, but couldn't. First the secretary, a nice woman but not known for her calm temper, berated by the phone. Then she connected the lady to our phone, where a colleague did pretty much the same. Next, another colleague went out to check on my car. According to said colleague, she looked relieved as she thought he was going to move my car. He just told it was illegal for her to park there and now she had to wait for me or we'd call to have her towed. Meanwhile, I was in the middle of a complex procedure that required to be in a white room, sterilized room with controlled atmosphere, sterilized blouse, so I couldn't just leave what I was doing like that. So she waited. And she called twice more to complain that she needed to leave. and twice she got berated by my colleagues until one of them told to stop or they would involve the hospital security and actually get her towed. In the end, I got out of the White Room at 5:30 p.m. My colleagues and I thought it was enough, so I changed myself as slowly as possible, took the time to get everything in order, and let everyone know in building I was going out for 5 minutes, and then finally got out. She was visibly so pissed because it was almost 5:45 p.m., but the threat to get her car towed might have stuck because she didn't say anything except a passive-aggressive thank you. By the time she could get out, it was almost 5:50 p.m., so she waited a little less than 2 hours. Could have been worse since I ended my shift around 7:30 that evening. So far, no one else has parked on the spot except us. Edit, to all of you saying they would have waited until 7:30 or had her car towed or both, you would have been in your right to do so. I just didn't want to escalate the situation, and I thought was not worth making a potential enemy at work. If you liked my story, I hope you read this one from you/the toilet destroyer because it's similar, a way funnier. Neighbor called the cops on me smoking weed, so I outed him to his family. First off, where I'm from, weed is illegal. I'm very conscious about the smell, and I understand that for non-smokers the smell of weed is horrendous. I completely understand why, and I always do my best to avoid any discomfort to anyone. That's why I usually smoke late at night, when I know that everyone should be asleep, including my downstairs neighbors. We live in an old apartment building. The thing with this guy is that he's a heavy tobacco smoker, and I can always hear him coming in and out of the terrace, mostly because he shuts the door so hard that all the walls shake. From the pattern of slamming doors, I can tell that he smokes his last cig at around 2:30 a.m., therefore I decided to go for my nightly puff at 3 a.m. I opened the windows, turned on the oil diffuser that is also anti-tobacco, and lit up my joint. 15 minutes later, cops knock on my door, alongside them is my neighbor, and I get taken to the PD for statements. I end up with a warning for possession, a fine for disturbing the peace at night, and a sleepless night. Before this point, he wasn't exactly a friendly neighbor either, but his wife was sweet, from the few interactions I had with her. The first few days after I moved in, he always gave me the death stare, but I assumed he was just grumpy. Fast forward a few days, I'm scrolling through Grindr when a new profile pops up at the very top of the list. All my neighbors, all mostly elderly people, so I was quite confused as to who this is. I clicked on his profile, and it was him. I started a conversation with him, sent him a pic of a friend, with consent, to pretend I was him, and a couple of hours later we were sexting and he sent me a couple of nudes. The next morning, I caught his wife before going to work and showed her everything. When he came home from work, I could hear a lot of crying and he eventually got kicked out. It's worth mentioning that they also have a 16-year-old kid. I'm very satisfied with my revenge, but I also feel terribly sorry for both the wife and child. They didn't deserve this. I purposely made the project so that my project partner could get a D in our final project. We had to do our final project in pairs. We could choose our own partner, and I immediately decided to choose my best friend, as we always did these kinds of projects together. But one of my other friend, not a friend anymore, asked to be my partner and advised my best friend to pair with this other girl who was pretty close with my best friend. I thought it would help out everyone, so I went ahead with it. My best didn't like the plan and got upset with me. She didn't say anything at first, but it eventually resulted in our fight and we stopped talking for a while. Now, back to the project. This girl said she doesn't have time to research and she isn't very good with it, so she asked me to do all of the research and that she will make the final project, which we will present together in class. I was stupid, so I agreed without questioning. Then, I spent 2 weeks doing all the work and gave everything to her to just copy and finalize. She wrote 5 pages in 3 days and said that it is enough and we should ask the professor to prep our presentation because she have to go on a vacation with her boyfriend, and they have already booked the tickets for the next day. I got angry at her but tried to calmly convince her to write everything before the presentation and that we should do it when she come back. But she wanted to be done with the presentation before her vacation so she can enjoy herself. She went behind my back and asked the professor and then told me that we are presenting. I was beyond angry at that point. But I didn't want to make the bad impression on the professor, so I went ahead with it. Our presentation was horrible to say the least. I was one of the top students in class and was in the good books of the teachers, so my professor was really disappointed and asked me to do it again. My partner said she won't do it. I told that I'll do it and that she can go on her vacation. She got happy, thanked me, left the next day. I was already planning my revenge, just hoping it would work. I already researched everything, I just had to write everything. I put in my best efforts, made all the charts, diagrams, graphs, and everything to make it better. And I brought my academic writing classes into use and wrote my name on the top right corner of every single of those 20 pages. I was really proud of that project. Just to go by the rules, I put the sheet she wrote at the end and wrote her name on it. Then, I presented it in class and got an A, and best part was that the professor graded it individually, so she got a D. The look on her face was priceless when she came back and saw her score. She thought she could take advantage of me. When I got over the initial anger, I realized all of the time she talked to me was only when she needed help with our school work. I am happy to be done with her. Now I don't think back and resent myself for being nice to her, because I got my revenge at the end. I talked it out with my best friend and we are going strong. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.